Well, it's Baylor week and the last game of the regular season. Got a bowl game coming up eventually, but it'll be a while before we know where or when or who. All right. Now, so this is the Sunday question series, where I ask the questions that I think I would ask on Sunday if I had missed the game on Saturday. The overall question is, or a two-part question, I guess, did they stack games and did they finish? Did they stack another good game on top of the Cincinnati game? No letdown. Have to establish that. Now, of course, we had a good stretch earlier in the season, but I'm not sure one game is enough to, well, I don't want to say erase the taste of the Oklahoma game, because nothing does. But put the Oklahoma game in perspective and make sure you're building on the right foundation for the bowl game in 2024. And did they finish the season and the game? Need to finish the season strong, because that will affect recruiting. It will affect bowl game. There are going to be several teams in the Big 12 all bunched together. And the bowl selection people are going to be looking at the money. Do the fans follow? Will they get the TV ratings? Now, West Virginia tends to do well, but a strong game against Baylor will make them look a lot better. And again, it kind of pushes the Oklahoma image further back. And did they finish the game strong? Because, well, they didn't against Cincinnati. The defense kind of lost focus. The offense was strong. Then we had the penalty, the interception. So I would like to see the season close with the team on the go, moving strong, moving fast. Okay, before I get to the offense and defense, pardon me, I just got to say, please hit the subscribe button, because a lot of you aren't. Make comments. Please click the thumbs up. Click share. If I'm going to make a go of this, I got to get to 1,000 subscribers, and I got to do it faster than usual. So I need your help. No money involved for you in just clicking those buttons. All right. Now, offense. Did Green build? By that, did he finish the game with at least a 60% completion rate, having thrown 25 or more passes? I'm not that interested in the completion rate if he only throws a few passes. And were the mistakes back down? Or at least less visible. We don't need the bad interceptions, the ones that probably shouldn't be thrown at all. Of course, one a game, or one every 2 or 3 games, I suppose we can handle. But would like to see the focus going up, the mistakes going down. Did Jaheim White stack games? Now, he has overall been doing better and better since he learned the importance of practice. And I do think that lesson has hit home for him. I don't say he has to get over 200 yards to say he stacked games, but I'd like to see it. He's got the ability. And of course, dang it, we all want to see him take one to the house instead of the 5-yard line. But we'll get there, whether it's Baylor or later. But we need White to show that he can stack games. I still want Donaldson in there and want him doing well. So I mean, we need that big offense, both passing and running. We've had it a few times this year. I don't want to see it as much with Green. I mean, if Green's going to run for 150 yards on a handful of carries, that's fine. I don't want to see him carrying it more than necessary, because that probably means there's a problem someplace else. Now, I mean, if he has to run on a scramble, sometimes that means the defense just gave him the opening. Other times it means he had too much of a rush, or the receivers didn't get open. Those are negatives. So even a 50-yard run can have negatives. I don't think we'll see Anderson. I don't think we'll see Anderson ever again. I think he's done for whatever reason. Might see Johnson. He is the number 3 back. They're not going to run Oliver because it would burn his red shirt. There's no point in that. Wouldn't be bad to see Judah Price, come in at the end maybe. Just a change. Of course, I'm not sure if he's been on any special teams or what his red shirt situation is or how much it matters. But I'm sure a lot of people in West Virginia wouldn't mind seeing him get a couple of carries and maybe take one to the house. Did Gallagher get downfield in the receiving game? I know we have to take it slow, but I'm waiting for that just as much as I'm waiting to see White take one to the house. Gallagher has to learn the routes well enough to be trusted running more than handoffs and screens. Now, of course, the screens were a step up. We're seeing more and more. But I want to see him downfield. I want to see Clement. So that's the question I didn't have written down. We have not seen the Clement we had come to expect since his injury. I don't know how much of a problem that is. Is he not quite right? Is the play calling and such just not leaning his way? Haven't been when you throw 19 passes, some guys don't get it. But I want to see Clement back to being the big-time receiver. Between him and Carter, I would rather see Clement have the big game because he's the one who will be back. And of course, it would be nice to see Ray have an ongoing game. He has in the past caught more than one ball early, but there seems to be this tendency for him to have a high spot in the game and then not a lot of things spread out through the game. Don't know why. I don't see it as a serious problem. It's not like he's going to be a great receiver. That's, But I would like to see that consistency, whether it's him, the calls, who's playing at the given time, I don't know. Defense, was the line disruptive? Now, the last few videos, my question has been, did the line get push? Because they had not been getting much of anything for a few games. So push was what I asked for. Next step, disruption. More like what we had early in the season. So tackles for loss. Obviously sacks, pressures, forcing bad throws, stripping the ball. I want to see it. I'd like to see it from a variety of players and on a more consistent basis. And that doesn't necessarily mean blitzing. I want to see the line get more going on, even if they're only bringing 3 or 4. And they can. They've done it. And the offensive line for Baylor is young. That's part of why they're having trouble this season. Now, of course, by this point in the season, they're not as young as they once were. So, talent starts to show more. But defense, our defensive line against their offensive line, we should win a lot. Was the coverage tight? Most of the games this season, coverage has been good. A lot of passes knocked down. Has some coverage sacks against Cincinnati. Most of the time, the receivers, if they catch the ball, they're getting tackled fairly quickly. But against BYU, we saw tight coverage, hard hits, multiple passes that were incomplete because of the hit. And we haven't seen a lot of that this year. So I want to see not just good coverage. I'm hoping to see tighter coverage, hopefully with 1, 2, or 3 interceptions. Now, one of the questions, does Beanie Bishop finish with an interception? Yes, we've got the bowl game coming, but I want him to finish the season, the regular season, with an interception, not a drop. I want him back on his game. He was a little off last week. Now, of course, I'm not sure where he stands with the passes defended statistic. He was getting close to the West Virginia record. That may have thrown things off last week. If he got to thinking about it too much, I don't know. I'd like him to have the record. He's been great for the team. But we need Bishop to have a full Bishop game. Those games where he makes the interception rather than just the defense or the drop. And dang it, I want Ruffin to finish with a big game. He's a big part of what West Virginia is all about. Hasn't had he's had good coverage, not a lot of interceptions. Let's see him pick one off this week too. Let's see somebody take it to the house. Let's get back to him competing. Say, hey, I'm going to pick off the next one. Related to that, did we hit hard and tackle well? Tackling's been up and down. Partly missed tackles, but also just soft tackles where you bring the guy down but not for several yards. That could be the difference between 3rd and 3 and a first down. So I want to see guys drop when they are hit. It needs to be smackdown, clean football. We need to play the game that Bill Stewart led us to in the Fiesta Bowl. Let's leave no doubt. Thanks a lot. I'll be back to do more videos and start talking more and more about 2024, the portal, and all those sorts of things. Thanks for watching, and so long.